Hi everyone, and in today's video I really want to talk about sleep. It's something that comes up with my clients a lot and also something that I myself struggle with. So I wanted to talk about the importance of sleep and the impact it can have on our fat loss journeys. So by the end of this call, I want to have given you all some strategies and some habits that you can look to implement to help improve your fat loss journey and hopefully improve your sleep as well. So first things first, fat loss isn't just about calories and workouts. Yes, they are super important, but our sleep also has such a big impact on our progress, more than we probably realize day to day. So I really want to talk about how sleep is not actually a passive activity for us, and it really does impact on our hormones, and it impacts on our hormones, which then impacts on our behaviors, and our behaviors then impact on our results. So one of the things that might be impacting your fat loss journey is actually your sleep. So just want us to really think about this all in a little bit more detail. So I want to talk about hormones to begin with. So there are 4 hormones that really are impacted by our sleep. So the first one is one called ghrelin, and I kind of like to think of this as a little gremlin. When we sleep badly, this increases, and this hormone impacts our hunger. So it can make us feel more hungry. So if we've had a bad night's sleep, if you've ever had a late night or had a really disrupted sleep, do you ever feel really, really hungry the next day? That's because that hormone is increasing. And there's not really anything we can do about that consciously. That is our subconscious causing those hormones to rise. And also with that, there's a hormone called leptin, and that hormone is all about how satisfied we feel and how full we feel. And when we have a bad night's sleep, that hormone actually decreases. So one's going up, making us feel more hungry. One's coming back down, making us feel losing that feeling of fullness and satisfaction. So that can lead to us going to eat more because we feel more hungry and we're less satisfied by what we're eating. So again, think about, have you ever had a really bad night's sleep and all you want is fast food? You can eat a normal breakfast and you're left dissatisfied by that meal. That's because our hormones are causing us that dissatisfaction. And actually a bad night's sleep can have an increase of up to 30% on cravings, and that is to do with that imbalance of those hormones. The third hormone to talk about is cortisol. So this is our stress hormone. So you might know a bit about this anyway, but ultimately our cortisol levels are low during the day, and then they spike during the night. And for women particularly, we spike higher than men do, and the spike happens before we wake. So can be sort of in those early hours of the morning. And when our cortisol levels increase, that's normally due to stress. And what that causes our body to do is to go into a fight or flight scenario. And ultimately what that means is when our body is in that reactive mode, it's causing our body then to hold on to fat for protection. So if we're stressed and we don't sleep, our body's going, oh my God, I need to protect you. And we then hold on to that fat because our cortisol levels are high. They spike higher and then they come down during the day. We're flat during the day and then they go up again in our sleep. So again, really important that we're sleeping well to keep that spike from not spiking any higher than it normally should be, and it coming down naturally as we wake in the day, which is the normal cycle that it goes through. The final hormone to talk about is insulin. So we all know insulin is to do with our blood sugars, and if we have a bad night's sleep, it can actually cause our insulin to not be as reactive as it needs to be. So it can cause us to have blood sugar spikes and crashes. So again, coming back to that craving point, that we really need our insulin levels to be stable in order to stop those spikes and to keep our blood sugars flat and stable. So thinking about all of that, those 4 hormones, what we really want to think about then is the actual impact that has on us. So if we wake up tired, it means that we are likely to move less. And one of the biggest factors in fat loss is our NEAT activity. So this is our non-exercise movement, essentially. So that is just our general walking around the house, putting the kettle on, going to the shop, going out for a walk. If we're tired, how many of us actually do our steps or actually get out? And you think, oh, it's fine, I'll just order in because we're tired. So not only have we slept badly and our hormones are higher, we're moving less, which again is impacting on our fat loss journey. So you need to think about that as well. So with all that in mind, you're thinking, okay, Kerry, that's all well and good, but what can you actually do about it? So I have 6 habits for you. Things to think about that you could look to, small changes that might actually help improve your sleep. So number 1 is trying to have a consistent sleep and wake time. Now the sleep and wake time will be different for every single person, whether you're an early riser or whether you're a night owl, but try to be consistent every single day with what time you go to sleep, but also what time you wake up can help us get into that rhythm and be more consistent and hopefully have better sleep. So that might be 10:30 till 6:30 for you. That's about what mine is. Does it fluctuate? Yes, but something I'm trying really hard to focus on is giving myself that consistent sleep and wake so that my body gets used to it. The second habit is to think about light. And with that, I mean natural light. So you all probably know that getting morning daylight is so good for improving our circadian rhythm. And our circadian rhythm actually helps us sleep. So if we can get out and get some natural daylight first thing in the morning, we will sleep better. And obviously things are a bit better now, girls, as we're going into spring, the clocks are changing next week. We naturally come now into more natural daylight, so we should use it. So think about how you can incorporate natural daylight into your day, particularly first thing in the morning. Number 3 is all about caffeine. So how many of us are guilty of having an afternoon coffee? But what we really want to think about is caffeine stays in our bodies longer than we realize. I don't have a time for you, but I know if I have a coffee in an afternoon, I'm not sleeping well. So what we really want to think about is, can we have decaf options, or move that your final coffee is before 2 o'clock in an afternoon, and also caffeine from other sources, so sodas, etc. Caffeine comes in different forms. So just trying to think about, can we bring that last caffeine intake earlier in the day so that it's not staying in our system for too many hours and then us trying to go to sleep. Number 4 is all about wind down. And what I mean by that is, what is your pre-bed routine? What does that look like? Are you sitting in front of the telly and then going straight to bed and turning the light off? Is there things that you can do 10, 15, 30 minutes before you go to sleep to help your body come into a relaxation mode and think, okay, I'm now ready to go to bed? So one thing that I personally am trying to do more of is get into bed and read my book. And with that is my brain is then going, okay, she's getting ready for bed. I've done my teeth, I've done my skincare, I'm in bed reading my book. That signals to me and my brain and my body, therefore it's bedtime. So what little things can you do that can help incorporate in that wind down? Number 5 is all about the environment that you're actually trying to sleep in. So I read something recently that said your bedroom should feel like a cave. And what that essentially is getting at, it needs to be dark, it needs to be cool, and it needs to be a comfortable environment. So we want no bright lights coming through the windows. We want it to be cool, not cold, but not hot. So you want it to be a comfortable temperature. So think about, what does your environment actually look like? Is it dark enough? Is it cool enough? Have you got the right lighting and the right setting for you actually to go to sleep in? So something to think about and look at your setting. What does it look like? Do you need to make any changes? And then finally, this will be no surprise to anybody, but really thinking about a digital curfew. So at least 60 minutes before we go to bed, we really should not be looking at our phones. And I know this is so much easier said than done, but the blue light that we get from looking at our screens is just triggering our brains so much. And that then becomes very, very difficult for us to then switch off. So as part of that wind down, what are you doing with your phone? Is it on the other side of the room? Can you leave it in a different room completely? What does that look like? And can we think about, can we switch off from the digital world earlier to help us sleep? So just to recap on those 6 proposed habits. 1, consistent sleep and wake time. 2, light. Can we get natural light first thing in the morning? Number 3, caffeine. Can we bring that last coffee earlier in the day? 4, what does a wind down routine look like? Can you start incorporating something? Meditation, breathing, reading, whatever it is, can we incorporate that into the routine? Number 5, looking at your actual environment. What does your bedroom look like? Is it dark enough? And finally, number 6 is, can we get a digital detox or a digital curfew earlier so that we can actually help us sleep? So hopefully the gist of this this video today is all about the fact that fat loss relies on sleep, and it can be such a multiplier in your results and your progress if we think about the impact it's having on our hormones and then therefore our behavior, and then that then influences our results. So hopefully this has been helpful, some things to think about and take into the next week ahead. And stay tuned for other videos all about habits and hacks to help you on your fat loss journeys. Thanks everyone.